Hello, Julia, and good morning. Thank you ever so much for joining our RIMU Reflections series. It's lovely to be speaking to you today. So our RIMU Reflections series is really about engaging and talking to lots of small business owners to understand a little bit about their inspirational stories, but also to talk about and have a think about some of the challenges which small business owners are facing both today and as we move forward into 2022. So good morning. Tell us about your business.
Good morning, Sophie. Thank you, first of all, for inviting me to be part of this amazing series. So thank you so much for that. Wow, great first question. I started Blake Consultants 11 years ago now, and it just—
Oh, wow.
I know it's flown by, it's quite incredible. And through Blake Consultants, I help coaches and consultants and service-based owners grow their businesses. And I do that by having the right processes and systems in place, and that liberates them to do more of what they want to do and less of what they don't want to do. Because there's always things out there that we enjoy more, and there's things that we enjoy less. So, that's what I do, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I've always wanted to run my own business, always. I never had a product. I didn't know what to do. And then, so over 11 years ago, just over 11 years ago, I was offered a really lovely contract with some people that I'd worked with in a previous job, because all these people that are in your network, they're great, aren't they? If you really resonate with them and get on well with them, then often you end up working with them again. So they offered me this wonderful piece of work, but they said that I needed to invoice them. And I was like, oh gosh, goodness me, how do I do that? So I kind of fell into it. So at that point I thought, no, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to miss out on this opportunity if I don't take this plunge. So I set up a limited company and haven't ever looked back, really. It's just been fantastic.
Awesome. So just for people who may not know, so when you say systems and processes, I know that the customer relationship management tools, so CRM tools, are part of that. Are there other processes and systems that you focus on as well, or is it just the CRM side?
It's all wrapped up, actually. It's a really good question. It's all wrapped up in the CRM, but the CRM that I particularly like has sales pipeline functionality, and it has the ability also to help you manage what you deliver to your clients. So, and the CRM used to be something that only big companies had, and it's not the case anymore. We're living in a fantastic age where all of these bits of software and these systems, they are agile, and you can bespokeable, and you can make them suit you, and you can really make the most of them. So CRMs now are very much more for small business. There are CRMs out there that are for small businesses, for owner-managed businesses, for just a single person running a business, or for teams, and then you get the bigger beasts that are for obviously much bigger organisations. But what I absolutely love about these about CRM is that you can put a process into the CRM, and then the CRM becomes a clone of your best self, because you've taken a step away, you've gone out into some fresh air, you've worked out what your ideal process is, what really works for your ideal client, and so you're using all of the knowledge that you've got and all of the experience that you've gained over the time of running your own business, and you can put it into a process. And you don't have the emotion of a specific situation to sort of throw you off course, because we all get thrown off course, don't we? We all have different scenarios, which is life. That's what's so wonderful about life. But by having a process that works, and then by putting that into a system such as a CRM, then that CRM is prompting you to do the next thing. So we can only keep like 5 things in our head at any one time. And actually, sometimes I can't even manage to keep 5 things in my head.
I was going to say that's quite ambitious, I think, some days.
When I always sort of say to people, it's like when you're packing to go on holiday, you have the next sort of 5 things, don't you, ready to go in that suitcase. And if you get interrupted by somebody, a phone call, or in my case, one of my boys, I've got 3 sons, so that one of them asks a question, that you completely forget what the things were that you're going to put into the case. So by having a system that prompts you to do the next thing that you've identified as best practice, to either help somebody actually sign up to work with you, to actually become a client, and then to do the next thing so that they have a great experience as a client with you is phenomenal. So it really is like having a clone of your best self. And
I love that idea. I know that you've said
yeah.
that to me before, and I love the idea. I could definitely do with a clone of myself, one to maybe
Yeah.
sort the kids out, and one
Yeah.
to work with. So yeah, I love that idea.
Yeah, and it's because we all have bad days as well. We all have bad days. And yet, if you're prompted by your best self when you're having a good day to do the next thing, then a bad day is never an unproductive day. As a business owner, we can't afford to have unproductive days because there's so much going on anyway, isn't there? So then have a bad day that you don't do anything, because you can't think of what is the next thing to do because you're overwhelmed. It's such a sad waste of a day, and it's really, really hard just juggling all of these plates, really,
Yeah,
to be honest. And I was thinking about this earlier, actually. I was just out and about on a dog walk, and I said we're all juggling these plates, and what happens is that when one of those plates that we juggle smashes to the floor, we stop everything and we bend down to pick up that plate and clear up the pieces, and then all the other plates around us drop. So, but by having a system in place that supports us, we don't need to drop all those other plates.
yeah.
That's,
Do you
I
know
haven't
what?
even worked that.
That's a really good thought, actually. I had a scenario quite recently where a client had a kind of an emergency thing, and you are right, everything that you'd write a plan to do X, Y, and Z on one day, and then all of a sudden it went out the window. So yeah, I do know, I can relate to that completely. So what career path did you take to get here, Julia? Have you always worked in CRM on processes and systems, or did you used to do something else?
Yeah, I was one of those people at school. I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. Didn't have a clue. I grew up in Somerset. My mum was a teacher and she helped children that couldn't go to school. They'd either been excluded or they were very ill. So she helped people. My dad was a cheesemaker and he went on to run a creamery. So he was very processed, because when you're making cheese, you have to follow a process. But also, we grew up in the country, and so we were very we grew our own vegetables, and it was all about the seasons, and especially the big farming community. It was very seasonal, lots of helping other people, but lots of really identifying that a good process really helps. And I hadn't, just thinking about this interview this morning, I was thinking I hadn't even really realized that about my upbringing, that they're really core values for me. So you don't realize at the time, do you? You just think growing up in the country is a bit boring, or there's, you know what I mean. So then I really rebelled as a teenager. I went to an all-girls school, couldn't bear it, left school at 16, and I went and worked in Lloyd's Bank in Glastonbury, because I'm Somerset born and bred. Glastonbury is really close to my heart, to my soul. And I walked in there in my school uniform for the interview, and I got the job. So I started work when I was 16, and I saw business owners come in and pay in their money, and the bank manager then was somebody that really helped other business owners. So I really enjoyed it, and it's sort of great, isn't it, to earn money at that age as well. But then the bank manager went on to start up a merchant bank in Bristol. So I left home, went to Bristol, and worked with him, and then got made redundant. That's the first time out of 3 that I've been made redundant, and each time it feels like the world has just, like, I don't know, gone, you've just been left out on a completely, it's horrible. The world completely implodes when you've been made redundant. And whatever anybody says about it's not you, it's your job that's gone. It feels very personal. Anyway, it turned out to be a really great thing, because I decided, I've done a couple of A levels on evening class. I decided to apply to university, and I got rejected. And I was like, oh gosh, what am I going to do now? So I phoned up the university and I said, can I come and see you? Can you help me work out what I need to do to get on the course next year? And they said, come and see us. And I walked in, and the course director said, anybody that has the bottle to make contact like that, to ask for help, gets on this course. So I started international business, and that was the first time I had realised people love to be asked for help. If you get rejected, think of a way, maybe ask that person, go back to the client who's decided not to work, and say, how could that have gone differently? What would you have liked to have seen, for that to have worked for both of us? Is that people really do like to help other people. So I did an international.
I think there's something there as well about proactivity too, that I know when I've tried to sort of recruit people in the past and things like that, actually the attitude and somebody being proactive and going, actually, well, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? I'm going to come back better. that speaks volumes about an individual. So that's that's a brilliant story.
It does. And then I did an international business degree, and I applied to go and work in the States for a year. And I ended up working for a software house out there. And I came back from doing my international business degree, and I majored in accountancy. I love numbers. They tell such a story. I really like numbers. I love the freedom that money gives people. Money is useless on its own, but it's the freedom and the choice that it gives you that's so empowering. So then I worked for a software house, and it was brilliant. I worked as an executive assistant to the management team, and I really saw how all these amazing people that were really good at their jobs either gelled or didn't, and actually how vital it was that all of these individuals were organised, and how vital it was that the top person was organised and got their team working for them. And I saw that from a distance. I was party to all of these meetings, but I learned so much from them all. And then got made redundant again. Went and worked for another software house, got made redundant again. And then I got offered this amazing contract to work with this, as I mentioned earlier. And that's when I set up my limited company. I really realised that I was the product, that the way I did things and translated things was something that really helped other business owners. And I just love it. I really love what I do. So it's kind of a long-winded answer.
That was not my next question, actually. What's the main thing that you love about your job?
I love the eureka moment, working with business owners, and they go, "Oh my God, wow, what you mean it can do this? What you mean I can do that? What you mean I don't have to spend so much time doing that, but I can do more of that?" It's like, wow, that just makes so much sense. It's that if I could bottle that up.
I know, I have to agree with you. That's one of the things I love about my role as well within the marketing sphere too. And it's just like when it clicks, it's that light bulb moment. Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one. But I guess on the reverse, what do you least enjoy about your job?
That's really interesting as well. I think almost trying to defend that processes and systems are good, because I know there's something in me even that goes, processes and systems, that's a bit dull. Boring. Actually, processes and systems are really amazing. It's not a case of the tail wagging the dog, it's very much about the dog wagging the tail. Work out what processes work for you. They are so important. Stop reinventing the wheel every single time you try and get a client on board, or you have a conversation with somebody and then try and get them, to become a client you can work with and you can solve their problems. That's the whole point of having a client, isn't it? We solve our clients' problems.
Absolutely.
And then a system just supports that. So it's about trying to find a way to explain to people that a good process and a good system is liberating. It's not putting us in chains. It's liberate. It's the opposite. It's liberating. It's quite difficult to try and find a way of explaining that, I think.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but I guess for anybody listening, I guess maybe maybe kind of just thinking that through. So okay, so an interesting question. How would you describe yourself in 5 words?
Oh gosh.
I always think this is quite a tricky question, but quite revealing.
Yeah, tenacious. I'm like a terrier. I don't let things go. Pedantic, which is great because I do a lot of work with data and I'm setting up people's processes, so I need to make sure they're right. So that's, I think that's a good thing. Some people can think of pedantic as like a really negative thing, and I'm sure friends and people around me probably do think that's a negative thing for me. But actually, in my doing what I do to help my clients is a really, really good thing. Yeah, I'm very sensitive, really sensitive person. And I've always thought, I've always been told that's a real negative. Actually, I've realised over the last sort of 5-10 years from a really personal journey, actually being highly sensitive is an absolute asset. It's brilliant because I can really sort of peel away the onion layers and get to the root cause of the problem.
Definitely.
And I empathise, but most of all, I'm a fixer. I really like to fix things, and that's all of those traits, personality traits, all those words, they all tie in, and really, I suppose that they explain why I do what I do. I see
so that the kind of the problem solving piece is it's really important. And from working with you, I can really see that would definitely be a good skill set to have in what you do. And yes, and I can definitely see that.
Thank you. It's all about the person, isn't it? The business owner.
Sure.
I love working with business owners because business owners are so passionate, and all business owners I know, they're making a difference in the world. So it's about the person, it's about what they're doing, it's about what they're with their business to make a difference in the world. And then, but we do need these things just to be sort of quite clear cuts and sort of, processes, so that we can be supported and we can give more out to the universe, by having these things supporting us in the background, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, definitely. So just thinking about kind of reflecting back on your younger self, I mean, it sounds like you came up with some challenges, and you certainly kind of overcame them, which is, it's a really inspirational story in itself. But if there was one thing that you could tell your younger self, what might that be?
Yeah, that's another great question. I would tell my younger self to take a deep breath. I'd actually tell myself to listen to the old wives, the sayings, not the old wives, but the sayings. My mum would always say, sleep on it. And I'd be like, no, it has to be sorted out now. And actually, I've worked out now that the hit of emotion that you get, and I get lots of hits of emotion because I am really sensitive, that hit of emotion actually is not the best place to make a decision from. So actually, this expression, sleep on it, is brilliant, because that hit of emotion disperses within 24 hours, allegedly. I'm not a scientist, whatever, but it's, and that you can make a decision for a better position if you haven't made it within that. So sleeping on it and then thinking about it in the morning, all that stuff's great. I would, so that plus you can do anything, but you can't do everything.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, that's really good one. And I think when you start out as a small business owner as well, you start out by trying to do everything. And actually, much like yourself, I learned really quickly to, accounts, numbers are not my thing. So unlike you, they're not really my thing. So for me, it's like, I have to have a business that is supported by an accountant from day one. So that's brilliant that, I absolutely agree with your thinking there, which is really cool. So, we've obviously been through some really challenging times over the last 18 months or so, with the environment and what's been going on in the kind of the international, just general business world, not just internationally, but, what kind of challenges do you see as we go into 2022? What kind of challenges do you see for a small business owner facing as we move forward?
I think it's overwhelm. I have to say, I think one of the biggest challenges for a business owner moving into 2022, and in general, it's not just about 2022, I suppose, is overwhelm. I think there's more of a muddying of waters between home life, business life. And I think that, this is possibly for some people a result of what has happened. There's more working from home. I think that the trouble with that is that you just try and balance everything all the time. And I think that leads to overwhelm and burnout. And I know that I've had to work really hard on not trying to answer the emails when I'm cooking dinner because I've got hungry boys I need to feed. And then, because you truly can't give 100% of your attention to many things. So I've really struggled with this, and I've really learned the hard way, but I really put the effort now into compartmentalizing and being clear. So I use like a dog walk or a swim in the morning to move from being a mum into being a business owner. I transition. And then
I love that idea, because you're absolutely right. Actually, through doing these interviews, a lot of people, the kind of the mental well-being, the burnout factor has without question been quite a common theme. And actually, I see it through quite a lot of the work and conversations I'm having too. But I love that practical insight you share there, where you use the dog walk to go, right, I'm now, it's like my commute to work, I'm kind of shifting my brain from, I'm at home to actually I'm now going to the workplace. So that's really a really good tip.
And don't, I am in the great position that I do have an office that I rent some space in that I can go to. But when I was at home, I would just get all these, you see the washing, or you see this, and you see that, and you go, oh, I'll just do that. Before you know it, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning, and you haven't done what you want to do. So even when I'm at home now, when I work at home now, I clear the kitchen table, so there's nothing else on it, and I have that. This is now worked, and I've switched it now. So instead of saying, right, I'll get a coffee, then I'll sit down and do that, or I'll get a biscuit and then I'll do that. I was like, no, I will do that and then I will reward myself by having a coffee. So it's the positive deadline, if you like, a positive reward.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really helped me as well. But I think so overwhelm's really big. I think just being just that we are in challenging times in that we can't control everything. And what we've been taught is that there are things that are outside of our control. So really focus on what's in your control, what you can make a difference, and try not to get bogged down. I think one of the challenges actually, and I hadn't really realised this until about 6 months ago, is the media. The media is actually quite challenging because it seems to not give it seems to not report news. It seems to have a bias. And I think that we need to try and remove ourselves from that. I think as a business owner, we can get really swept up in, oh my goodness, this, that, and the other. And actually, no, just focus on what's important for you and your clients.
Do you know what? I know by the time we would kind of share this video, I'm sure things have moved on. But you know, the time this weekend about the shortage of fuel has just purely been created by a press release. You know, it's a recent example of where the media has shared a message. People have responded and panic bought petrol when actually there wasn't a shortage in the first place, but now there is a shortage because everyone's gone crazy. You know, the queues around Windsor this weekend for petrol have just been amazing. And
it's insane.
Yeah, so no, that's another great advice there.
Yeah, and did you see the thing on social media? Again, this will be current for when it was reported, but there's an image of somebody with toilet rolls, like a wall of toilet rolls going, I don't understand why people are panic buying.
Oh my goodness, I haven't seen that. I know back at the beginning of COVID, the kind of the bare shelves of toilet rolls, why people suddenly thought COVID was going to impact the toilet roll supply. I'm not sure.
But you know, as business owners, we are so agile. We are in this beautiful position where we can change direction and we can control that part of our existence. You know, we can change direction, we can change course if we need to. We are so resilient. And that's one thing that we've really learned, is how resilient we are, how we can adapt and change according to what is thrown at us. But you know, don't get us up. What I think is that there's a danger of people getting sucked up in that again. So I think, I would say overwhelm and don't, just focus on what is within your control, because you can't control other people, you can't control what goes on, you can control how you react to it as a person.
Yeah, no, I think that's really solid words of advice there, Julia, so thank you. Okay, so thank you ever so much for joining me today, Julia. It's been really brilliant to talk to you and understand a little bit more about your business journey, and obviously to hear your thoughts and perspective on some of the challenges that small business owners are facing as we move forward. If anyone would like to find out a little bit more about you, about your business and what you do, what's the best thing? How should they do that?
Yeah, find me on social media, Julia Blake, on LinkedIn, Facebook group, Facebook business page, or go to my website, blakeconsultants.co.uk, or email me. Always happy to talk to business owners. So it's julia.blake@blakeconsultants.co.uk. I just love helping business owners. So if you do have, if you want to make contact, please do. Always happy to have a chat.
Fantastic.
But thank you, Sophie. I just want to say thank you so much. I love what you're doing here. It's been an absolute honour to be asked to be part of this. Thank you so much. And I've really enjoyed this. This has been great.
You're very welcome. It's been lovely to talk to you today. Thank you ever so much for your time. All right. Take care. Bye.